Morning, everyone. Thank you for coming to watch. So I've got a update for you guys on these two storm systems that we're going to be talking about for this week, and then we're also going to be talking about what's going to be happening in our week ahead. So this is a very busy week in terms of weather because we do have many strong storm systems on the way. So I hope all of you enjoyed this a few weeks of like very nice and calm weather after that very big round of severe weather. But these storms are gonna they're gonna return, and it's gonna be fast, and it's going to be dangerous. So we have to break this down, and especially the timing, because I think a lot of people in the Northeast, I know, still are, they're not sure like that. The spring weather, well, the spring weather is still gonna be here, but the nice weather is not going to stay for long. So what we've got going on is we've got a few rain showers and thunderstorms that have been moving their way across the northern border of North Dakota, and then also parts of northwestern Minnesota. And then we've got some snow flurries and snow showers that have been moving across the. I guess this would be the Rockies, and then southern or mostly southeastern Wyoming. And then we've got also a band of showers and thunderstorms. These are the remnants of that the ex tropical system that we saw here, that made landfall yesterday in just off the coast of the Gulf of Mexico. But I mean, this is going to be very interesting to see if this will actually try and re-strengthen as it kind of moves off the sea. And I think if this does re-strengthen, which we're almost not even going to talk about this because I don't see any point in having this re-strengthen, because I don't think there will be any re-strengthening. But if it does, I think it'll definitely make a turn inland and aim for a secondary landfall in the mid Atlantic. So that's very unlikely. It's just a possible scenario that we could see with this system, but that's just something that I'm throwing out there. We're not going to take a look at that, but because there's not really any model run in particular that is showing this, that's showing that to happen. But I mean, that's just something that I think could definitely happen. But yeah, so this is pretty much all that's been happening in the last few hours. Otherwise, the rest of the country is pretty calm. So we're just going to move on to your temperatures for today. So let me put this back. So let me see. Today is the 14th. So let's put this to the morning of this morning. So this was 2 a.m. this morning. You've got temperatures. Really, you could see the western U.S. is in a freezer right now. You've got temperatures getting all the way down into the single digits here in southern and mainly southwestern Montana, and then you've also got a lot of northern Idaho in this as well. And you're just going to continue seeing these massive amounts of cold air reaching down from southwestern Canada into the northwest. It's because this ridge is causing so many like differences in our temperature pattern, that it's so large, the area, that it's reaching into a different state, and that is crazy. The entire eastern the entire eastern U.S. and a lot of southeastern Canada is just controlled by this ridge in the southeast. So, I mean, I could draw like a line here, kind of a borderline of these cold temperatures and these warm temperatures. So basically what you've got is these guys here in the western US and mainly the northwestern US. You guys are in a fridge. I mean, it's been really cold during this spring so far. But there is a tiny area of western Montana that at one point you guys did actually get into the 70s, and I think southwestern Montana, one person got hit 80 degrees. But you know I mean, we've just been seeing this incredible, uh, you know, just line of storms, and I don't want to say line of cold air, but just a arm of cold air that's been always, it's the same pattern every week, where you've got the weekdays are sizzling in the eastern US. The western US is a absolute freezer out there. And then on the weekends, the western US cold front builds enough energy to push the warm front you got here away. So that causes tension in the atmosphere. And believe it or not, I mean, every time, it's almost every time. If you looked at the severe weather events in the past weeks, in the past like month or two, you would see that all of them, almost all of them, have been in this area, and that is because that these two, fronts, or uh, temperature fronts, have always caused enough tension in the atmosphere to make severe thunderstorms right in this area. That's very interesting to look at. So this, I mean, I'm going to continue saying it for a very long time, but like I've said many times before, this ridge in the southeast is basically our weather for the entire U.S. This is basically what's happening. This is basically controlling the weather for the entire U.S. Because if you think that if this ridge wasn't there, I mean, you'd see a completely different pattern in temperatures, and you would see so much more evenness, if that's even a word. But the temperature pattern would be so even that it would almost be like you'd split the country in half. One half would be completely in cooler temperatures, and one would be in warmer temperatures, and no one would really have any above average or like really cold temperatures. It would just be kind of around where we're supposed to be, and that's all because of this ridge. So very interesting to look at that, but that is a huge factor in why we're seeing so many severe weather events this year, is because all this warm air here in the ridge in the southeast, is pushing all this warm air up north, causing that cold air from that used to be up north to just fall down into this like cup, I like to call it, this little cup here, because you see this kind of shape. Look at this. I'll outline it. Doesn't this look like, here, I'll make it in red so you guys can see. But it looks like a little cup. I don't know if it's going to red, but here, but you can see there's a little, it almost looks like a little cup here of very cold air here that's old. This is old cold air from the northeast, the north central, and all the rest of you guys surrounding, that has been dumped into this region here of the western U.S., and then that causes all this cold air to build until it gets to the point where it's so strong that it just shoves the warm air off to the Atlantic, and then that causes tension in the atmosphere, which causes severe weather, which causes mayhem, and that's what we've been seeing for the past weeks and the past month. So that is why the severe weather is just uncontrollable right now. It's just all because of this ridge. And one thing that we really need to figure out is why, why are we seeing this ridge, and why is it happening, and how to stop it, because this is not good. This is really not good. So let's get back to our temperatures for today. You can see here that for the Northeast, you guys are at pretty high temperatures today, widespread above average, actually. You've got temperatures almost getting into the 90s. I mean, this is incredible. This is like upper 90s. I mean, I'm on Long Island, and we're gonna get probably around 87 degrees. Yesterday was wild. Yesterday was like 90 degrees. New York City, you guys are up to 90 degrees today. I mean, it's insane. But like the entire eastern U.S., the eastern U.S., all of you guys are in at least 70-degree weather today. It's crazy. But the evenings, luckily the evenings are going to be nice. Around this time of year, the evenings are going to be very nice because it's going to be in the mid-60s. There's not going to be much wind. But then really once you get to the overnight hours of tonight, you're going to start seeing this line start forming. And this is called a stationary front, which means that that's going to build a severe weather threat right in this area. And that's going to continue. Basically this line that you're seeing here is that's cold air shoving that warm air out to sea. And that's just what I. This is basically what's happening right here is just what I talked about and what I explained with this ridge, because all this cold air has gotten so strong it's almost like a balloon. It pops and then that expands all the air, around the country, which forces this warm air to go out to the sea, and that's what we're seeing tomorrow. So it's going to be an interesting and pattern that we've been experiencing already, but it's something that you could break down, so much that it would be a conversation that would go out for like 20 minutes. It's crazy. But let's get back to this update. So we're going to move on to your alerts. And you can see that basically what we've got going on is this fire danger. So this fire danger it's been very high, and it's been dangerous because in May and April, there shouldn't be too much fire danger. It may be a little dry in some parts of the country, like the desert areas, obviously, in the western U.S., California. We saw a lot of wildfires out there. And then some parts of, maybe the southeast may be a little dry. But we shouldn't see that much fire danger until, like, the summer. But there is a very large area for fire danger, and that is in northern and western Texas. You guys are really hot today. I think you guys, this whole area is supposed to get up to like 90 to 95 degrees. But, I mean, I would say that anywhere, if you're in this red flag warning here, you guys really got to make sure that you are ready for any wildfires that could spread. So please do not, I know most of you don't do this, but do not, make any open fires, because that's just not going to lead to any, that's going to lead to some bad stuff, because that's going to spread very quickly, because it's a little windy out there, because you do have that stationary front that's going to be sweeping across your region. So that's going to be increasing that spread for fires, and the fact that it's really dry and hot, that just causes the risk for fires to start, and then the wind just spreads the fires. It's simple. Creating a massive wildfire over thousands of acres long is just because of two simple things. One, creating the fire because of hot and dry conditions. Two, the wind pushing the fire and spreading it. Two simple ways that fire can really lead to some terrible things. But if you pay attention to the North Central too, you guys are also in this as well. I mean, northern Michigan. I think there is actually one pretty big fire going on in northern Michigan right now, and that is actually pretty long. So you guys in northern Michigan and central Wisconsin, you guys really have to make sure that you guys are, I definitely urge you guys not to have any barbecues today, even though it is very nice in terms of, temperatures and weather today. But just try not to use any smoke or flammable material today. So I'll tell you, if you're in the red flag warning, I don't care if you're in the southwest or if you're in the north central regions for this red flag warning, just try not to use any flammable material today in whatever projects or whatever you're doing today. So you also do have this dense fog advisory that goes out for New York State, southern New York State, Long Island, and a lot of New Jersey. This also stretches into parts of southern Wisconsin. Actually, no, this does not. This stretches into southern Michigan and then northern Ohio. So that's pretty much it for your alerts. And then we're just going to look at the Storm Prediction Center for your fire risk. So this is like the first time I've actually showed you guys this map here on my channel. I think it's new because, this is a fire outlook, obviously, but it does kind of look like the SPC, so severe weather percentages. But I just want to show you guys this because there is a critical fire risk for today, and that is for that same area we saw with the red flag warning. So Lubbock, Texas, Amarillo, Texas, Midland, Texas, Odessa, Texas, and Roswell. Uh, I believe that would be. Uh, Not sure what this NM is. Oh, New Mexico. Sorry, because I don't really with this. I don't really see New Mexico in any risk for severe weather or fire danger. Because one, I've never looked. I've never looked at this map before, and two, you don't really see too much severe weather in New Mexico. So when I see New NM, I'm not really used to thinking that knowing that it's stands for New Mexico, but that's the reason why I'm having a little trouble figuring out what that stands for. But anyways, I mean, you just got two areas that I'm really going to be paying attention to today for that fire danger. So this one here, this elevated risk for fire danger. This is in southwestern Wisconsin, southeastern Minnesota, and then parts of northeastern Iowa. So you guys really have to make sure, Iowa. You guys have to make sure that you are, not using, like I'll say it again, you're not using any flammable material, and just try not to increase the risk of some fire spread. And especially you guys in the southwestern U.S., you guys on that critical risk. What it's saying here, fire risk is critical for today. So really make sure you are staying safe out there. So we're gonna move on to the southeast for today, and you guys, it's actually been pretty wet, especially for the northern areas of the southeast, like the Carolinas. These are your remains of the remnants of the extratropical system that we had, and you could see that basically what these are cells, storm cells. These are not severe thunderstorm cells, but they are thunderstorm cells that have been moderately strong to strong thunderstorms. And then once these move offshore, they should fizzle out unless they haven't already. And really, it's going to be from now to like the middle of the night tonight is really when you're going to have those storms. When they're going to be strongest, probably. Let's see. So probably by like 3-4 o'clock today, you'll probably have the strongest storms firing across Tennessee, North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, that kind of area. And then a bit of South Carolina, northern South Carolina. I think you guys could possibly have the strongest storms, but if not, it would definitely be southern West Virginia. So we're going to also be talking about this potential, I wouldn't say severe weather outbreak, but a very strong, little outbreak of thunderstorms. Not severe weather. I mean, severe weather is definitely possible, but it's not going to be an outbreak. But, there's definitely, the dynamics are coming together for something pretty big around the 15th, this would be tomorrow to the 16th. But, I mean, this is this is widespread areas. I mean, this is not only the southeast, but this is the central U.S., the north central, and then this all goes off to the east, and then the entire coastal regions of the eastern U.S. are going to be impacted by this as well. So, what we're looking at here is the FE3 high resolution model, and basically, what we're seeing here are two main lines of storms. You've got one. This is pushing off to the east very fast. So this one here, I'm highlighting in red, and then this is just going to move off to the northeast. So this band is your northeast band. The one here in the south, farther south, this one is going to be impacting the Carolinas, and that's going to move off to sea. So there are basically two areas for the southeast for severe weather that we're going to be looking at, and it's those two areas. So if we continue playing this is the middle of the night tomorrow night. You can see that these are pretty strong storms. I mean, this could definitely be the picture that we're going to be seeing with that hour or two of severe thunderstorms. I think this is quite possibly that time frame. And then you've got another push of possible severe weather just off the southern coast of Louisiana, and that's going to be impacting probably by the morning of, I believe this would be Saturday. And then these push off to Florida, and then these fizzle out once they get off to the Atlantic, and then they will not be impacting anybody. But the main threat with this, damaging wind gusts, hail, isolated hail. I wouldn't say completely like crazy damaging hail, but there is definitely some possible large hail with this. But flooding concerns for me are really going to be high, and it's because that we just had a very very strong tropical rainstorm that just dumped a few inches of rain across all over the southeastern U.S. So on top of that, these rounds of never almost never ending uh, downpours of thunderstorms. I mean, that's just going to cause a lot of, rising in rivers, overflowing of banks, and then also maybe some choppy waters out here. So maybe some waves that could spill onshore. So there's just a lot of flooding concerns for me across this entire region, even the regions well inland, because there's still that main threat, which is the excessive rainfall. That is definitely going to be causing. That's going to be the number one factor for some not severe flooding, but dangerous flooding. Now we're now going to move on now to the north central U.S. and we're just going to be looking at what you guys are going to be seeing from the system. You can see that today we've been looking at mostly dry weather across most of the region, but then you do have off to the west, you do have some snow that has been moderate to heavy across western Nebraska, um, southwestern, southern South Dakota, and then also parts of Colorado. But these could definitely drop a few inches of snow. But then these will quickly turn to thunderstorms once they kind of cross the Rockies here. The ones up north, you guys will those storm cells will act those snow showers will actually change over to rain a few hours before the ones across the Rockies will, just because the Rockies are really going to be slowing down these, like the transformation of snow showers to rain showers, just because the Rockies are so much more cold than what's happening up north. And then we're just going to continue seeing these storms fire across the region once we get into the morning hours of tomorrow. So the main threat for severe weather is going to be, shouldn't be too bad when tomorrow, but you will have a more widespread a risk for severe weather, and that's why you do have a slight risk up for this area. But these do appear a little curvy, meaning that the tornado threat could be a little elevated. But this one shouldn't be a concern for you guys. It's just going to be a pretty stormy day, and then maybe some lightning strikes. Then on the backside of this, you're going to have a winter storm. Now, we're going to talk about this. This is for central Iowa to northern and the coastal regions, the not coastal regions, the the borderline regions of um, eastern Minnesota, and then you can see also northwestern Wisconsin. You guys will also be impacted by some snow. And then, I mean, you could just see that this is a massive, absolutely massive system, and you've got so much precipitation in this entire area here that this is going to all be shifting over into the northeastern U.S. When is this storm going to be at its peak? Well, probably um, midday tomorrow. I think that's where you're going to have possibly the strongest storms. So I might have said earlier that the storms tomorrow are going to be a little bit, a little bit less worse than today. I think you guys should just scratch that. I think tomorrow is going to be the main threat for severe weather rather than today. And then the storm will obviously move out probably by, looks like this is Saturday. And then on the backside, you'll have very dry conditions. And it'll be cooler because you'll have that cold front shifting off to the east. So you guys will be submerged in some cool air. So here's the SPC, so severe thunderstorm percentages for the storm. You're up to a slight risk today for parts of Kansas and southern to southeastern Nebraska. So tornado threat, it's less than 2%. Wind threat, you've got a hatched risk actually, because you're up to a 15% risk for Omaha, Nebraska, Wichita, Kansas, Lincoln, Nebraska, Council Bluffs, Iowa, Bellevue, Nebraska, and then the wind threat. I think the wind threat is going to probably be the highest. I don't know what happened there. It might have glitched. And then the hail threat is almost exactly the same as this wind threat. And you've got pretty much all the same areas for this wind threat, except you do have Salina, Kansas, Manhattan, Kansas, and Hudson, Kansas, in this 15% risk for damaging hail. But I think I'm going to be off to tomorrow, if you want to put it that way. Tornado threat for tomorrow. You're up to a 5% risk for this area farther south, so it's like the southeast. You guys, it's your day tomorrow for severe weather. So you're up to a 5% risk for Little Rock, Arkansas, North Little Rock, Arkansas, Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Monroe, Louisiana, and Conway, Arkansas. Wind, it looks like a 30% risk for Little Rock, Arkansas, North Little Rock, Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Conway, Arkansas, and Hot Springs, Arkansas. A little bit more widespread area for that 15% risk for wind. Now you've got Memphis, Tennessee, St. Louis, Missouri, Shreveport, Louisiana, Jackson, Mississippi, and Springfield, Missouri. And then tomorrow, for the hail risk, let me get back to this. I lost it for a second. The hail risk for tomorrow, you can see that you're up to a 30% risk for Little Rock, Arkansas, North Little Rock, Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Conway, Arkansas, and Hot Springs, Arkansas, and then that same area for 15% risk. So not too bad. You're up to an enhanced risk. So that, again, that's a level 3 out of 5 risk for severe weather, but just make sure you are ready for that, just in case there will be a tiny outbreak of severe weather. But I mean, this, it shouldn't be too bad, but nothing like you guys haven't gone through. And then for tomorrow, you are up to a slight risk for parts of southern and central Georgia, and then a marginal risk for this area that stretches across the Ohio Valley, and then parts of the southeast. So we're briefly going to be talking about the latest GFS model for these few weeks ahead. And I just want to point out that there are a few storms that look a little concerning to me. Like, they look very strong. So we're gonna break each of them down, like this one here that we're gonna be that we just talked about for tomorrow. This is what it showed. This is what it's looking like on the GFS. You can see that snowpack here for southern Minnesota and then northern parts of northwestern Iowa, and then this storm goes off to the east. And then on the backside, you will have some possible like snow squalls, maybe some snow showers out there. But then your warm air returns with another system that's going to be up, very high up north, so like on the border of the U.S. and Canada, and then that's going to be a very slow mover that's going to give some snow, and then it'll form a new low pressure system that will actually deliver some rainfall to areas farther south. So it's like a band of snow and a wintry mix for areas farther north, like extreme northern North Dakota, Montana, and Minnesota, and then a bit of that breaks off and then forms its own low pressure system that brings rainfall farther south. That's going to be probably from like the 18th to the 21st, and then the secondary low pressure system will also bring some heavier snowfall to northwestern Minnesota. Then you get another pretty slow mover. This one shouldn't be too quick. That's going to bring looks like a very concerning possible severe weather event to me. But I mean, look at this. You've got a huge area of very strong storms. These are insanely strong downpours here. As you can see, you've got that red showing up there. And then more snow for Minnesota. So you guys in Minnesota, that cold air may return. So maybe you're thinking that the ridge is now being pushed off even farther to the east. So maybe this cold air in the west is making a comeback here, but it's definitely going to be giving Minnesota and Wisconsin a lot more snow, just because that these storms are all going to be riding the jet stream, and they're all going to look kind of the same shape and the same characteristics, and then that also is going to pair with this cold air. So that's just going to give more snow to Minnesota and Wisconsin. And then you get a pretty, not a strong band of rain, but a pretty long kind of line of rainfall that's going to be impacting probably around the 23rd. That's going to move off to the east pretty quickly. And then you don't really have much left because this one looks like a pretty quick mover. Just 2 days of some rainy weather, maybe some severe weather possible. I don't want to say severe weather actually because this is so far out, but maybe some thunderstorms possible in the northeast. You could see just north of Long Island in New York City, you do have some pretty strong thunderstorms as that low pressure center moves just off to the north of Rhode Island and Connecticut, and then you're pretty much done with all this action and the weather and the weather pattern here. So I think that's going to be it for the next few weeks. So that's going to wrap up the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any, like, share, comment, subscribe, if not subscribe to the channel. We'll see you guys in the next video. So we'll continue watching these storm systems, but I just hope you guys stay safe with that elevated fire danger and then possible severe weather event that will be impacting today, tomorrow, and then possibly into Saturday.